Hey guys, Juan and Angelica here, and we're back for another episode. And this time we're talking about, I think, a lot of different topics, you said?
Yeah, I selected the topics this time, and we are doing a variety.
Okay.
This is going to be our variety show.
Our variety show. It's a variety show, so
yeah,
we'll see where the conversation goes.
Yeah, we'll see where the conversation. Did you want me to start it off?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I told you I came to you earlier and I told you things that I wanted to talk about. I was in a good mood today because of the stuff that I was searching. So I wanted to touch a little bit on the stuff that I've been surfing on the internet or Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So a lot of it is do good, humorous, information, education, and all of that stuff. But I want to start off a little lighthearted. Right? So I want this episode to be very lighthearted.
Okay.
I want it to be very just very lighthearted.
Not so heavy.
Yeah, not so heavy. Not like
I feel like the last couple of ones that we've done have been a little bit heavier. We've been talking a lot about the coronavirus and like all this stuff, like all the like social and mental health we talked about last time. So a little switching it up a little bit is good.
There's a variety of things happening. Yeah. Not a variety thing. There was very specific conversation about mental health, but this time I want to switch it up a little bit. So I wanted to start off with the humor.
Okay.
So I've been searching. I've been saving certain articles and certain things, and I showed you a few. And the one that sticks out with me the most is I actually made a list. So I'm trying to be as prepared as I possibly can when I'm hosting this. So let's see. So I've been watching a lot of people have been doing a lot of TikToks. People have jumping on TikTok, right? And
everybody's on TikTok right now. Like
they're trying to figure it out.
I feel like everybody's at home right now, so they're making TikToks together and they're like experimenting and
they're
like
making it a priority,
doing like fun things together, like at home.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying a lot of people's like take on things. So I still think a lot of people are very new. You can tell the newbies from those who've been doing it for a while. And I've been enjoying everybody's TikToks when they've been uploading into because they're getting very creative on TikTok, right?
Well, the thing about TikTok for me is like I like it, but I think I like it too much because when I go on there, I can stay on there for a long time. I can just be like, because I'll just keep going, like looking and looking and looking. It's so easy to like, it sucks you in. So I try to avoid it a lot of times because I'm like, I don't want to go on there and like stay there forever. But I think it's very entertaining.
You have a TikTok?
I have a TikTok.
You've been on it?
I've been on it not recently, but I have a few posts on there.
I didn't know you had a TikTok.
Yeah, I have a few pictures on there.
Pictures, not videos.
Like videos. I have a few videos on there.
I haven't gotten to TikTok yet, but whenever they upload them to Facebook or Instagram or like the stories, like I enjoy them. I definitely enjoy those TikTok
My thing is like
videos.
Mine are more like I don't do any dancing or anything like that. They're like more like I was like just experimenting. So
just testing it out, testing the waters with TikTok. That's good. So but I've been enjoying people's TikTok. I've been enjoying to see how they're getting very creative with things because they have the time now and it's a lot of movement. I think because it's a lot of like fast paced. TikTok is very fast paced. I feel like it's constant movement or whatever. But and then another thing that I've been enjoying are like BuzzFeed articles. There was this one that was particularly very hilarious, and I showed you earlier. Was the potato head.
Oh yeah,
the potato boss. So I guess the story goes that she had downloaded a few filters to one of those like Zoom or Skype or one of those like Intertel. What is it called?
Well, it was like one of the teleconferencing things, like the video conferencing tools.
Yeah, she had downloaded the potato filter when she was doing the video call with her family the night before, and she couldn't figure out how to take it off for her next meeting. So through her entire meeting, she was a potato.
So this was a lady she was the boss, and she was interviewing somebody for a job.
No. She wasn't interviewing anybody. She had her employees. They were having a meeting.
Oh, so she was a boss, and she was having a meeting with her employees.
She was having a meeting, and she couldn't figure out how to take the potato filter off.
So she
just gave up and gave into the potato head. So she did the whole meeting
as a potato.
And I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was so freaking funny.
But people turned it into a meme, you said.
They did. They started turning into a meme. Like, at this point, we all look like potatoes. So I thought that was funny. On a not so funny one is... did you hear about the 18-wheeler?
Oh, the 18-wheeler with the toilet paper, yeah.
With the toilet paper that
Yeah.
what the driver, I guess, fell asleep at the wheel and crashed, and he's safe and his dog is safe, but it went up in flames.
All the toilet paper got
And
burned.
that's not funny. It's not humorous, but the irony behind that.
Well, I saw it this morning because when I got up and I started seeing on Twitter, like people were like, "Not the toilet paper, not the toilet paper, it's not."
Yeah,
the... and they were kind of like poking fun at it a little bit.
They were.
But I was like, "Oh, okay." Like that's that's ironic that out of all right now when everybody's like hunting for toilet paper,
that it all burns up in one
high commodity. I'm like, I could imagine if it would have like fallen out, people would have been running after the toilet paper.
But I seen it and I was like, "Whoa!" It burned up, and so my concern was like the driver and whatever, but I read the article and he's fine, his dog is fine, but the toilet paper is up in flames.
No more
toilet paper for wherever he was distributing that shit.
Or maybe he was a hoarder. No, and he was like
the 18-wheeler driver was a hoarder.
He bought like all the toilet paper he could buy.
Yeah.
And then he was like on his way somewhere to like get away from society.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to touch on that you've seen?
Oh, the only one that comes to mind is John Krasinski from The Office.
Oh yeah. He did like a late night show.
So he did like I think he asked his followers. I kind of loosely paid attention, but not really. But he asked his followers, I think on Twitter or somewhere, he asked them like, send me some good news, because he's like, we're every day we're hearing about these like this dark time that we're in. He's like, send me some good news. And people responded to him, so he like called it, I think, I forgot what the name of it, what he called the show, but it has like a GSN or something like that.
I seen it.
Or SGN or something like that, and it was like something good network or something like that, or some good news or something like that. But it was him just talking about all the good news in the world that people sent him, and then like things that he wanted to share too that were positive. So and Steve Carell was in the.
I watched it to that point. I'm looking up my own good news though, but it was so lighthearted that I really enjoyed the interview he did with Steve Carell.
Yeah.
As if you don't know, for people out there, we're like big Office fans.
Yeah.
Like we can watch that over and it can be the same episode over and over and over and over.
I don't know how many times we would finish watching all the seasons, and then we're just like, let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, because
start the first one again, and then we go.
It's one of those where we just have it on background noise, and then every now and then we'll pay attention to an episode, and it'll make us just laugh.
The thing is, there aren't that many shows. I don't think that you can do that with. Like, I think another one we did that with was like Everybody Loves Raymond.
And it's not on something that I can find easily.
Or Seinfeld was kind of like that.
Yeah, well, Everybody Loves Raymond is definitely one of them. Seinfeld, it's touch and go for me at least.
And like you guys like Friends, and I really don't like Friends.
Frasier.
Oh yeah, we like Frasier. Frasier we can go on
Frasier.
repeat.
Yeah. Friends was one.
Friends, not for me.
Me and the kid.
I never really liked Friends. When it was on air or now. So
so you can do without.
I can do without that one.
So one of the things that I also wanted to touch on was you pointed out with what's his name again? The one from The Office? I don't know his real name. Yeah, I just know him as Jim.
Oh yeah. John Krasinski, the guy that played Jim.
So good news, right? Like sending good news. So I've been keeping up with a few of the retailers and a few of just people who are giving information and education. And a few that I wanted to touch on was our state-owned HEB. They've been doing phenomenal things, and I just wanted to point out a few of the things that they've been doing.
So these are like brands or companies that are like doing positive things or stepping up in some way?
That are trying to do it right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So remember one time you told me that it sounded like HEB was more prepared than the government itself?
Well, there was an article that wrote. There was an article, I can't remember. I think it might have been Texas Monthly or something like that wrote about how HEB started preparing for the coronavirus a long time ago, before the government even started preparing.
In January.
Yeah, they started preparing, and so they started like.
Do you know what they did?
I didn't read the article. I just kind of saw the headline,
so
and I retweeted it, and that was it.
So it turns out that they had heard of the coronavirus happening in China, and they reached out to actual major retailers out in China, and then they were learning from them as to what they did right and what they did wrong and how they were going to prepare here in Texas. So back in January, when the government wasn't really even talking about it, when the news was just coming out of China, they were like, okay, this is something that's going to hit us hard and we need to be prepared. So it's true. They were kind of semi more prepared than the government themselves. They did certain things, like they were the first ones to put like the markers on the floor, 6 feet distance. They did the plexiglass.
I was just thinking about that today. I was like, I wonder how did they have all that plexiglass and they're ready to go, and they even have like branding on it and everything. And I was like, oh, like they were like
prepared.
That's why I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense that they were prepared. But I guess they like started figuring things out. Like if we need to, we're gonna put plexiglass, and how much of it do we need to order? And like I guess since they started early, maybe they were able to order. Like they didn't have an issue like getting all the supplies they were gonna need
to get prepared for it. Yeah. Which makes sense, because every time, like we've been going to HEB to do our shopping because their stores are smaller. They have meat every time we go. They have vegetables and everything that we need. Basically, like I think 98% of my list is there at HEB. So they were very much prepared. I guess they were seeing what people were going to buy and all of that stuff.
Well, they were even able to hire people, and they were like, in the midst of all of this, they've been able to hire people, and they've been able to give them raises. Like
they
give
gave
their
them
employees
$2 hourly raise for a month for the employees, for their hourly employees. They also they're staying on making sure that everything that the messaging that they push out is not just pandemic. So they're doing even something in interactive things like drawing challenge. So they're doing like a boot drawing challenge for Texans. Right? So they still want to be part of the community, but they don't want it all to be somber. So they're still doing things like, and it's very creative, right? A drawing challenge for your kids to do, for you to share, for you to keep interacting with your community, and they're doing that right.
I haven't paid attention to that, but that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was phenomenal. They're also, like I said, increased wages, and they're controlling how many people they let in the store. And they were one of the first ones to do that. Also, they have the senior hour. They were also one of the first ones to do that. But they're controlling how many people they bring into the store, because they don't want everybody. Of course, social distancing is very difficult when you have a store that's packed. Right, and everybody goes to the same sections. And then if everybody is in the same line for duration of the period, then what's the purpose of social distancing? So they're controlling how many people they let in. And, based on how many people are coming out. And one of the things when we were going, they're also like cleaning the actual like shopping carts for us.
Yeah, that I did think like was interesting. But then I did the other thing when like the I guess the person that questions everything in me was like, I don't know if that's a good idea, because what if somebody actually gets sick and then they're going to come back and be like, well, you said you cleaned the carts and they weren't, and they obviously weren't that clean. They're doing the best they can. But I mean, I did notice that they were cleaning, and I think that like they seem to have like a good approach to what they're doing. I
thought that was interesting. I like the way they did that. I again, they have everything that I need. We haven't tried any other retailer, but one of the retailers that I have been keeping up with, because we worked with them before in the past, and I want to make sure that what they're doing is something that again still aligns with what we believe in, which is Walmart. I've been keeping up with what they're sharing and the things that they're doing also. And again, they're also moving towards the plexiglass, and now for their employees, they're actually like doing like very brief wellness checks on them. So they're checking their temperature, as they report to work, they're asking them basic health questions. They're like pre-screening them before they start work, again because they can spread it amongst each other and amongst customers also. And then they're also providing gloves and masks for the associates who want to wear them. So it's an option for them if they feel safer in the store. They give them the option. And if they want to wear it, they can wear gloves and masks. So I was like, okay, well, they're taking care of both, right? They're taking care of the customers, and they're taking care of their associates, which is their employees.
But weren't they one of the first ones that gave a raise to their employees? Or they did, what was it they did at the beginning?
I want to say that, but I didn't read that.
I remember there was something that they did it early on, that it was like before.
I think it was the hiring.
Was it the hiring?
I can't confirm because I didn't read it. And from what I was reading, I didn't come across that. But it might be. That might be true.
Yeah, I think I can't remember. I have to remember. I have to think about it, see if it comes back to me. But I know they've done like several things, and yeah. I mean, I think that it goes in line. I know they've donated and they're partnering with different organizations, and they're doing all types of different things. That's not surprising because we know like just
they're a big corporation.
Just from knowing the people behind the scenes and like kind of how they operate in general, like as a brand, like behind the scenes, I think it's not surprising to see that they're stepping up in a time of crisis, like they've done in lots of other crises.
Yeah, so they're also implementing the plexiglass that we spoke of. What they're doing, what I did read is, what I read was they're giving bonuses to their employees.
That's what it was. What it was. They were giving bonuses to their employees.
Yeah. In addition, they also are closing store hours sooner. So we all know Walmart for a store that tends to stay open. It used to be 24 hours. And then they did the community Walmarts where they closed them at 12 o'clock. And that's no longer a thing. Like they're opening them later and closing them earlier. So people aren't just kind of passing time inside their store.
I mean, well, think about it. Like, in almost every community that you go to,
there's a Walmart.
There's going to be a Walmart there. And most of the time, like especially when you're talking about like more like smaller towns,
would you say
like
Walmart's
rural areas, like you're gonna like the Walmart is probably going to be like the place where you can go and probably find it.
I have a question.
Most of the things that you need.
Do you think there's Walmart outnumbers HEBs
in Texas
and like in Houston?
I don't know. I think they're about the same. Probably.
I'm very curious about that.
No, actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure that Walmart does outnumber them because I
thought so too.
I think HEB is pretty like I know the HEBs has a lot of stores too, but I think they're like regional, more like they'll have a store that covers a specific region. Like there's one store that's there
a specific community.
For a long time, there was one store that kind of covered the whole central area of Houston, and now they have like a couple more that they've opened. But before that, there was just a few, but Walmarts, I feel like
everywhere.
You can drive to a neighborhood and there's the Walmart for that neighborhood, and then you can drive to another neighborhood and there's a Walmart for that neighborhood.
We do definitely have several Walmarts around us that we can go to, and I can only think of like 3 HEBs.
Yeah. So that's why I think like there's probably definitely they probably have more stores.
I'm so excited to have both. Yeah. I'm so excited to have them both here, regardless.
Yeah. But no, I think I forgot what I was going to say, but so go ahead.
So going back to the things that they're doing, so their early senior hour is on Tuesdays. And I thought about it. I was like, why aren't they doing it every day? But I did think about it, and I thought, well, they're even aside from just the seniors, but those who are in need of things also need to be able to get the stuff if the seniors get to it first, right? Those who maybe are disabled. Those who are limited in resources and want it and show up early to get the stuff, and then perhaps and it makes sense.
I mean, I don't know. Like I think that to me, like I think like I was saying, like I think there's a Walmart in every location. Like I think most places, and especially when you're talking about smaller towns, if you go there, there's usually a Walmart, and usually the Walmart is like the place to go shop because that's where everything is.
Yeah.
But and I think that a lot of companies have stepped up to help the employees, and I think it's rightfully so because I mean, these are employees that are having to go into work, or a lot of times they depend on those jobs that they have to be able to like just be able to have feed their families, be able to pay their mortgages, be able to pay whatever they're doing, have a life for their lifestyle. They depend on their job, and it's like an hourly job that they have to be at. So, I think it makes sense that you would reward those people for being there because, people will say like they are putting their like health and online at risk, and they're putting their own safety at risk because they're having to go on the front lines every day. So I think. Like the same way that people are like saying about nurses, like they're like and doctors, they're the front lines. So are the hourly workers. They're the ones that are having to restock and having to make sure that people are able to they don't have to stand in like long ass lines, that they can actually go through quickly.
Aside from the very intellectual and educated, and not that I mean to say it like that, but aside from just those that we think are just vital. I mean, the working class is the backbone of America, and we've always known this.
Well, what's
And
funny
this is a true testament to that.
I keep seeing that I don't know if it's a meme or a picture, but people are like, oh, like now, like how is it that the country is depending on all the on all the hourly workers that a lot of people don't want them to get paid more, like they're like depending on the working class, and they're depending on the scientists and the medical professionals.
There are working people. They are the backbone. They are the ones that keep it together. If they wasn't for them, where would we be? Where would we be with all the nurses assistants, the pharmacists, and all of them, right? They're the backbone of America, and we've always known this. But it's just, like I said, it's amazing to see it work the way it's worked.
So what I'm excited about is like seeing how, like, the companies, how they're stepping up, but also more like how people are starting to step up, and how individuals and like groups and like community centers and like
before we get there,
and all of these places are
before
like starting
we get there,
to step up.
I wanted to mention one more thing. So I also seen, and this is because this made me happy when I was looking at Walmart has I guess pledged to give 25 million to the COVID-19 commitment, which is to organizations in the front lines, right? So whether that's the nonprofits, those organizations that gear towards nurses, doctors, any organization that is dealing with those on the front line of COVID-19, through grants and things like that. So they're pledging this money that's going to help the research, that's going to help
What's a lot of different things. Like it could be a food pantry. It could be, services for kids that are doing distance education. It could be it comes out in a lot of different ways. And I think it's like,
Well, this specific one is for the frontliners, for people who are on the front line of COVID-19.
But a lot of times it's like working with the partners that you already have relationships with. So it's like, if you already have a relationship with an organization in a community, then it's like figuring out how you can then work with that organization to alleviate some of the issues that are happening in the existing community to affect the frontline people. Yeah. To impact the frontline people in some way.
Well, I'm not sure how that works out, but my understanding is those who are being affected in the frontline themselves, period. Yeah. Which is, again, the backbone of America.
Yeah, no, and I think I think the frontline workers, I think is like the medical people and the hourly people, and so like all of those folks. But I think to me, like, I think it's great. Like, I think a lot of companies are stepping up right now, to like make contributions, to make, those donations. And I think, what I would like to see is for like companies to like look beyond the traditional, like the traditional nonprofits, the traditional like partners that they've had long-term relationships for a very, very long time. Because I think there are a lot of other people that maybe are not part of that established relationship that are also doing good things in the community, but they don't have the visibility. Like, people don't have the visibility to see who they are or to know what they're doing. And so I think it's good to like be able to cut a check and to be able to like help all these organizations, but it's also great to like realize like all the like smaller organizations that are out there too, or like just community groups that are out there, and to be able to say, you know what, we're going to help you too. So I that's what I like.
Step outside of that comfort.
I would like to see like more companies, organizations, whoever, foundations.
Reaching out to more organizations, reaching out to more than
doing a little bit more of the legwork to figure out who's really out in the community.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So another brand that we worked with in the past, and of course I like checking in to see what they're still doing and stuff like that, is Consumer Reports. Oh yeah. They're doing an amazing job. They're writing up articles. They're doing the research. They're doing what they're known to do. Right. And so some of the things are like guides, such as financial impact. What is COVID-19? How is it going to financially impact you? And so besides just telling you how it's going to impact you, they're like, okay, well, how about we educate you a little bit?
And that's really needed right now. Like that's really a big need right now. It is. Because I think like a lot of people have heard about, like we've all heard about the stimulus package, right? Like, but everybody like, oh, there's going to be a check, like the threshold. You probably know the basics. Like this is how much I might get. This is how much, like as an individual, as a family, how much I might get.
And we know that that's the impact is larger than that, than what we're going to get.
But beyond that, though, is like, you know, there's so many other little things. Like in the last couple of weeks, so much legislation has gotten passed and approved, and so many things are in movement.
I was like, where did you say legislation?
So many like movements, like so many pieces of law have come through that are gonna like impact, that are aimed, that are supposed to be coming to help you, whether you're self-employed, whether you're a business owner, whether you're like a family in a situation, whether you're unemployed recently. Like, so there are a lot of resources that you're supposed to be out there, but I don't think people really have a full picture yet of like all that is really should be available to them. And I think the unfortunate thing is that a lot of these programs are like first come, first serve. So eventually that money's going to run out. So if you don't know about it, and you're not on the first wave or the second wave, or you're coming in the fifth wave,
it can be a while before you get to it.
It might be a while before you get any help, or it might have dried up by then, or you might have to wait for the second stimulus package that might come out.
I see what you're saying. So financial, so they're doing reports like that, like financial literacy right now, because it's the need is now, like you said. They're also doing things like, so I love the fact that they're educating. So we're in a state of just everybody's scared. What if I get it? What if my loved one gets it? What do I do? This is like, this is a lot to take in. And so they're giving, again, they're educating you. And one of them is, when someone in your house gets sick, what do you do? How do you do things like laundry? How do you take care of things like that? Right. So that it's not spreading to other people within your household, and you can contain it, and you can take care of yourself, and you can take care of your loved one that's also sick.
What's the name of the reporter that got sick? The one from who's the brother of the governor?
Chris Cuomo.
Chris Cuomo. They were saying, I remember that. I thought about him right now because they were saying that Andrew Cuomo was like, my brother has the coronavirus, and he's going to be in the basement for the next 2 weeks.
They put him in the basement
so that he doesn't. He's going to self-quarantine in the basement for the next 2 weeks, so he doesn't get his family sick.
Which is a good idea. If you
but we don't have basements in Texas, so I guess we can go to the attic.
We can go to the attic. Now we'll put somebody in we'll put somebody in one of the rooms, and then put
tape them down like in China.
Tape them down. No, we'll put somebody in the room, and then we'll put a bucket. That's what you do now. We don't know yet. We haven't had the conversation.